Before the first trailer for Gundam NT dropped, a friend of mine and myself had an odd experience. Almost in sync, we had the same thought and shared it. That being, dead, naked Newtype women control reality in the Universal Century timeline of Gundam. Not only was that moment freaky due to both of us thinking and understanding the same highly specific idea at that given moment, something which in hindsight is very Newtypey, but that ridiculous thought ultimately proved to be true. As a film, Gundam NT is on par with Char's Counterattack in my humble opinion. Its only flaw being, like Counterattack, the running time. I wanted to see more, especially what happens during the Grips conflict at the research lab. However, I have a hard time viewing the sentiment as a bad thing. When the movie hooks a viewer and makes them interested about the world and characters, it's doing something right. Despite my praise of the film, however, there is one giant caveat I want to mention. If you do not like the more space fantasy angle Gundam adopts when dealing with Newtypes, then you will, flat out, not enjoy Gundam NT because that's its prime focus. If you like the more hard sci-fi side of Gundam, like Thunderbolt, then the film isn't for you. I bring this up because I'm going to be spoiling a good hunk of NT's narrative. As it relates to Newtypes, because the film finally offers a proper explanation to the borderline magical nonsense we've seen across many mainline UC series. If you're interested in the film and don't want to be spoiled, then please stop the video, find a way to watch the movie, yar har, and come back. It has my full recommendation. If you don't care or have already seen it, then strap in because you're apparently on a plane, and allow me to explain how Gundam NT made Newtypes awesome. The stupid thought my friend and I had, dead naked Newtype women control reality in the Universal Century, touches upon a major criticism I, as well as my friend, have concerning Newtypes and how they're portrayed in many mainline series. Among the group of Gundam fans I hang out with, we have coined the term Newtype nonsense to describe the weird, oftentimes nonsensical things which occur during a Gundam finale, be it Mobile Suit Gundam proper, Zeta, Double Zeta, Counterattack, and especially Unicorn. A lot of times these finales get rather weird as characters come to blows and remark upon the tragedy of their situation, usually leading to a lot of dead cast members, especially if it's Zeta, cause whoo boy. This is then oftentimes followed by a rather crazy series of events that involves a naked or semi-naked dead Newtype woman emerging from a different plane of reality and aiding the hero in either completing their objective of saving the day or to just straight up murder the bad guy. This happens in every mainline series in some capacity, with maybe the exception of Double Zeta. I isolate that series in particular due to the fact I hate it and cannot bring myself to rewatch it full stop. I do remember some weird shenanigans with Gundam's second best girl, Haban Karn. The first is clearly Marita Cruz and Judo occurring, but my memory is foggy. Magical Newtype endings are a staple of the mainline UC series. However, not all endings are created equal. Sometimes the cool yet weird nonsense is replaced by utter bullshit that comes out of left field, ruining an otherwise great ending to a series. To explain what I'm getting at, I first want to highlight what I believe to be the best instance of Newtype nonsense, the Axis shock in Char's Counterattack. This moment, for those who haven't seen the film, which would be really strange considering the subject matter, is the climax of the story. Char is about to win. Axis is going to crash into Earth, destroying it, and there isn't anything a single person can do about it. The Federation needs a miracle to save the cradle of humanity. Then, in a last desperate attempt, Amuro takes the new Gundam and tries to push the asteroid back. Nothing happens since one mobile suit on its own cannot move an asteroid. However, other Londo Bell pilots flock to the legendary Newtype side and do the same. Then, Federation pilots who stayed out of the battle begin pushing the asteroid back, followed by enemy Zeon pilots who see this display, causing a change of heart. Enemies come together at the 11th hour, leading to a miracle that stops Axis from crashing into Earth, thus saving the planet. Though there aren't any set rules for Newtype abilities at this point in the Universal Century, this moment that can only be described as a miracle doesn't feel like an ass pull or bullshit because it serves to further the series' overarching theme while also remaining sensible. This moment is a miracle, and it's treated as one by the characters in the setting that shows what humanity can achieve if they let go of their past hatreds. If mankind stood together instead of apart, there's nothing it couldn't do. In essence, it was a powerful moment that was achieved by enemies burying the hatchet and working together, instead of a lone, chosen one figure. Though Amuro was the catalyst of the event, if nobody tried to help him, if the Zeon pilots didn't try to help him, Earth would have been destroyed. Basically, the Axis shock works because though there aren't any set rules for Newtypes, this miracle was achieved by countless people coming together, not by a single person or a couple of people. We know one person can do something weird as witnessed with Zeta's ending, so it isn't a stretch to see possibly hundreds of people coming together to do something unbelievable. It also serves to further the series' overarching theme of humanity coming together, understanding one another, and building a better future. Machines of war, enemies on opposite sides of a conflict, lay down their arms to save the lives of billions of people and the planet itself from someone consumed by hatred. It's the perfect metaphor that encapsulates what Gundam at its core is truly about. Having said that though, when something just as impressive or more so is done by one or two people, then the nonsense graduates to bullshit. Now this is where I have to talk about Unicorn's ending and brace myself for a possible torrent of anger and pushback. As a series, I love Unicorn. Banagher may not be my favorite Gundam protagonist, that goes to Camille, yes, seriously, but it does have best girl, so everything balances out. I hate the ending. Well, hated the ending, due to both the time travel that's apparently actual time travel if Gundam NT is anything to go by, and the blocking of the colony laser. First off, time travel came completely out of left field. There were precedents for Newtypes being able to do weird stuff under the right circumstances that impacted the now, but nothing more than that. On the list of things I figured Newtypes could do, time travel wasn't even on it because it doesn't tie into the larger themes of the series, that being the importance of understanding and building a better future together. I will state that for a while, I thought it was more of a symbolic look through time, more akin to an angel attack from Evangelion, but that doesn't appear to be the case if the Phoenix dropping in and out of time is anything to go by, as well as the tangible effect this moment had on the Neo Zeong. In a similar vein to that, I don't like how Banagher and Riddy are able to block the colony laser by themselves, because it's the inverse of the Axis shock. Instead of hundreds of regular people coming together to prevent calamity, it's two rather special individuals in crazy machines. It cheapens the impact of the Axis shock and Amuro's sacrifice. I will state my opinion on this ending has changed since watching Gundam NT. In a vacuum, without that film's existence, Unicorn's ending is one I find to be awful for the reasons I went into. Things just happen with no explanation that cheapens previous events. Since there weren't any rules for what Newtypes could do, these moments feel like ass pulls instead of natural progressions. It's an issue that has plagued most UC series and their Newtype nonsense in one form or another. Even Zeta, which is my favorite series. The way Gundam NT made Newtypes awesome is by addressing this problem and actually establishing ground rules as well as explaining what the hell Newtypes actually are. Put simply, Newtypes are individuals born with the ability to tap into another reality where the souls of humanity go when they die. This realm more or less connects all of mankind together, allowing for wordless understanding and danger sense, as we've seen throughout the series. Going along with that, Psychoframe is a technology that can tap into this reality when paired with the willpower of a Newtype that allows an individual to do anything. Literally anything. Seriously. As NT establishes, Psychoframe is a technological singularity, a hypothetical future point at which technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unfathomable changes to human civilization. It essentially gives mankind the power of God, something it is not ready for, so much so that the other reality itself sends the Phoenix through time to prevent calamity originating from the film's plot. At least that's what I've gathered. Regardless, it's wacky, and the original timeline probably resulted in Mad Wang. I applaud anyone who knows what that is without looking it up. By explaining and setting ground rules for Newtypes, NT is able to make every instance of Newtype nonsense, well, almost every instance, better in retrospect because the moments that could be perceived as asspulls fall in line with what is established. Though I'm still not a fan of how Unicorn cheapens the Axis shock with the blocking of the colony laser, I no longer have any real problems with the time travel because it sets up something NT pays off that the setting itself treats with reverence instead of forgetting about it. NT makes the oftentimes weird endings Gundam has palatable. I love Zeta. It's my favorite series in the franchise. I hated its ending because the last few minutes didn't make any sense. It felt like an ass pull the creative team was making up as they went along. I now have a newfound appreciation for it because it falls in line with the rules and explanations NT lays out. Though I find it funny that dead naked Newtype women do in fact control reality when paired with fancy metal, I can't help but applaud what NT was able to pull off. It, by the grace of God, was able to explain and make better some of the worst parts of Gundam while also telling a compelling story that I got into. The film made it appear as if its reveals were planned since the original Mobile Suit Gundam. That's not an easy feat to pull off, and it has my complete respect. But with that said, guys, I've been Boo. Haha. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see all you guys next time. Goodbye.